Hello students, this video is about how to format your research paper in MLA style in Microsoft Word. Starting with a blank document, and now I want to change my font to Times New Roman, size 12, and then I'm going to go over to the spacing right here. I'm going to make sure it's 2, it's for double spacing. And then I'm going to make sure both of these say remove space. I don't want any space before or after. Okay, I can go ahead and start typing now. First and last name, and then you'll do your professor, their name, then you do the class and the date. Next, we want to do the heading at the top. That will be where we put our last name and our page number. You double click at the top. There's other ways to get there, of course. And the next thing I like to do is go to page number, top of page, and I'll pick that plain number 3 that's aligned on the right side. And then I add my last name right before it and a space. Notice that this is the wrong font. It changed it back to the default. So when I click on it, I can just change it back to Times New Roman size 12 while I'm up here. Now that's done. Done for the rest of the paper. Okay, after your date, hit enter just once, and then you can type your title. And whatever you want to do. Center your title, and then one more enter, and go back to that left alignment. And now we can start typing our paper. Let's do this. You want to make sure that you indent the first lines of your paragraphs, and all you have to do is go in and hit the tab key. Okay, so I went and got some text from another paper so that we could use real text for our example. And this text is not formatted properly, of course, so I'm going to go ahead and select it and show you how to fix it. Again, you're just going to go to Times New Roman, size 12. Do the spacing. Wait, I didn't get that, did I? Do the spacing over here, double space. And then make sure that first paragraph is indented. I'm going to also check. Oh yeah, this didn't have the remove for both of those, so I checked that. The alignment is justified right now. Got to change that. So now it's aligned left, and then I'm going to go into this paragraph guy because I want to show you this flyout window has some extra stuff in it, and it's helping me see. Oh man, I got some problems going on with before and after my paragraphs. Okay. And then again in this flyout, I can also tell it to do some special indenting of the first line, 0.5, and that'll tab it in for me. The first line of every paragraph will now be tabbed in automatically. Okay, so let's just look at a couple of the citations just to kind of explain them. This first citation that the student used it is done properly. They did the title in quotation marks because they didn't have an author for this, and the period is after the parentheses. Just notice all those little details. Over here, this citation only has a page number because they introduced the source in the sentence before it. This citation has, the 2 authors that were listed as the authors for this article, and in the order that they were listed in the article, and then the page number. This one has many authors, so they just used the first one, comma, et al., which should also be done on their works cited page. Okay, so assuming that that's all good, I'm going to go ahead and go to the end of my paper, and I want to talk for just 1 minute about a long quote. So if I'm at the end of my paper and I have a long quote, or at the end of this paragraph, that I would like to do with this paragraph, I will hit enter once, and I'm just pasting one that I found. I need to make this one be indented as block. So I'm going to remove the first line indent on this one. Boy, all my other spacing is off too. And I need to make the font Times New Roman, of course. Size 12. Okay, this is a long quote because it goes over 4 lines, and my reader will know that automatically because of all this indenting that I did. Pulling it in like that lets the reader know this is a quote. Notice at the end too, if this is a quote, I'm going to, if it's a long quote, sorry, I'm going to put the period on the sentence, and I'm going to take it off at the end of the parentheses, which is kind of different, I guess, you know, from what we're used to. So I got some more text just to show you kind of what it would look like after the long quote if the same paragraph were continuing, which you should really have some commentary after quotes, especially with long ones. After I select all of this, I could just do this little flyout window at the bottom of the text and tell it to be the same as all the other text that's in the paper, which is what I did there. So let's say now that's the end of my paper. My cursor's at the very end of my paper, and I want to put in my works cited page. To do that, I'm going to insert a page break, so it automatically tells the computer to start on a new page. I have more than one source, so I'm calling it works cited. The works cited itself heading gets centered. Hit enter once, and I'm going to go back to the left alignment. Okay, I brought in some text from the works cited page for that paper, and let's talk about this now. I'm going to go down and do that same little flyout window and tell it to be the same as the rest of the paper. But now I've kind of made it so that it doesn't have the hanging indents, which you might have seen it, they were there before. I'm going to put them back on now. The hanging indents, I'm going to select just the sources, and I'm going to go up to paragraph, and this is where under special I can also tell it to do the hanging indent. It'll automatically go to by 5, and I want to click back on that again. I really want it to be 0, so I'm just going to do this. Still double spaced though. Okay, so these are the hanging indents done on my works cited entries. I need to look at these still, because if this is from a magazine or a journal, then I remember from all the formatting we did in class that this should be in italics, the name of the journal, and the name of the database should also be in italics. So I would go through each one of them and make sure I'm changing any of the names of the journals and any of the names of the databases so that they are in italics. And I'm not saying that all of these are done necessarily perfect. This is from a student paper, but that's what I would do, is go through each one of them. Notice too, they have their personal interview citation. Oh, everything should have a period at the end. And that this is correctly formatted for that. So make sure your interview is part of your works cited page, okay? And that's pretty much it. You will need to add at the very end the word count that you have for your paper. Just put that down there at the end. I think I asked you actually to hit enter twice. And I'll know that that's your word count, but if you feel like this would be helpful too. Go ahead and tell me it is your word count. Okay, that's it. That's how you format a paper using Microsoft Word, which I think is the best tool to use.